Hello, welcome back to the recap. My name is Angie, this is my husband Tim, and today we are recapping from a cenote.
Watch out for bats.
Do we have any announcements?
No.
Okay, so let's get into the episode. Seeking Sister Wives Season 5, Episode 3, Seeking Something Real. I'm going to do what I did during a Married at First Sight recap, where I'm going to be ad-libbing my thoughts instead of reading everything. So I hope this works out, because usually when I do this, it is more free-forming, but it is a headache to edit it after, so I'm going to vacillate between this format and how I usually do it, where I write everything out. Let's see if this is quicker.
Hopefully.
Okay, so let's start off with the Merrifields. We're at the part where we left off, where they're at their hotel in Cancun. The recent event with Natalia has left them all bewildered, but all that seems to have been sorted out pretty quickly because, as it turns out, the IT guy was able to bump up their number, so Natalia was able to get on the plane to come to Mexico, even when she didn't apply for a Mexican visa.
I think it was just a bunch of bullshit. There was no problem, and they just did it for drama. There was a whole bunch of, oh no, in this episode. Oh yeah, well anyway, and then she's there anyway.
Yeah, I thought that was also a fake storyline because it felt exceedingly strange that the IT guy would help you of all people.
He got a phone call. They said, okay, we got a real big problem here. There's this white guy. He really wants to bang this chick. Can you just push her up on the list? And then the IT guy's like, rightio. It doesn't sound plausible.
Moving on, they're at the point where Natalia is about to enter the hotel, and for some reason, Danielle keeps going on about how tiny she is, which I didn't feel she was tiny because she was only a few inches shorter than Danielle. Danielle is at least as tall as Garrick. Natalia looked to be about 5'6", which is about the average height for an American woman.
It's above average.
Yeah. Just to give some reference, I'm 5'2", I'm pretty short. It just seemed that descriptor of Natalia being tiny didn't seem to
be accurate.
Yeah. Maybe Danielle hopes that Natalia will see this and she'll take that as a compliment, and maybe she hopes that they're going to grow closer because, as we'll see later in this episode, they don't seem to be clicking as well as Danielle and Roberta had.
I mean, the only other explanation is maybe she seemed young, like a tiny child, but she didn't appear to occupy that small of a space.
I wouldn't put tiny and young as synonyms.
That's the only thing I could think of. By the way, I watched this episode. First time I've ever watched this episode. Garrick is a freakazoid. This guy, his eyes are too big. He's just too focused. And also, if you're gonna potentially screw up your marriage by finding some stranger to have sex with, she seemed like a very average-looking lady.
Yeah, you could find someone who's Latina like that in the US, but again, the fact that he is going outside of the country to find a woman probably means it's because even if there was someone that looked just like Natalia here, they wouldn't want Garrick, period.
I don't know. I'm thinking, is it a weird colonization fetish? Just, oh, she's so poor and from a foreign country and God wants this. What is going on with this guy's head? I don't understand him. He freaks me out.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was also part of his mindset. Because Natalia, she didn't look like someone to write home about.
But the way that he talked about her.
Yeah.
We'll
get into that. Natalia tells the cameras how she met the Merrifields. She saw their stories online. I don't know if that means Facebook or Instagram stories.
Or just a show.
That's plausible. She was thinking, oh, this guy is looking for Brazilian women. And they happen to be looking in the same city as Roberta.
Oh my gosh. I could be that honeypot.
Throughout the whole first interactions, Garrick is being his usual creepy self. He's saying there's not going to be any hanky-panky until there's a proposal on the way.
A commitment for life.
Because obviously he's not concerned about marriage first, because if there had to be a wedding first, that would delay his hanky-panky. He used that word, not me.
Yes.
Just to be clear. They keep saying they're screwed over. I don't know what that meant. Did they say that?
They keep getting...
Maybe they're saying we keep getting screwed over in these situations.
By Roberta and stuff.
And I guess they were marrying Lena. She was a black woman they were dating in between Roberta and Natalia. Lena did not scam them. So I wouldn't say they keep getting screwed over.
I think they keep screwing themselves over.
Fast forward to the day after they're going to go on their first excursion as a family, because again, they're bringing their 2 sons with them.
I'd be too embarrassed to bring my children on my sex vacation.
It was awkward because, again, the kids are here and also the mother of the girlfriend is here. That was the same thing that happened with Roberta. I think Roberta also brought her mother.
Anyway, they decided we need to all wear bathing suits.
Yes, because they're about to go swimming in the jungle in a cenote. Let me just be very clear what that is.
Cenote? Is it like a water cavern?
A cenote is a natural pit or sinkhole resulting when a collapse of limestone bedrock exposes groundwater.
Alcove thingy.
It looked very cool. There were lots of bats.
Turned out to be important later. We get an eyeful of just how, oh, mamma mia, how hot this girl is.
Because they're told to shower before they dive into the underground cave. Garrick, throughout all of this, is saying,
Natalia's so beautiful.
She's so gorgeous. I can picture us having some gorgeous kids, too. Garrick keeps going on and on about her body, but in my opinion, I thought Danielle looked more fit. But the fact that Garrick
isn't attracted to his wife
says more about him. That makes me think Garrick isn't too fixated on body. He's just fixated on the appearance of, are they Brazilian?
Yeah, it's a fetish thing. We unnecessarily were shown everybody having to bathe for some reason. Awkward. Oh, yeah, then we get her description of
Garrick. She says that he has the most beautiful eyes. And I'm thinking, those are the most off-putting feature about him.
I was going to say, those eyes are the last thing you see before you end up in the back of a car and then buried in a shallow grave in the desert.
Yeah, because they're just always wide open, as if he's always filled with the light of his version of the Holy Spirit. Okay.
That's the face you make when you get filled with the Holy Spirit for the first time.
Oh, God. Okay, anyways. Natalia goes on saying that she thinks his physique is attractive to her. She thinks that he could please her.
Oh, isn't that what he said? That he wanted to please her or something?
Well, I think she said that. I think she mentioned that he was worried about his physique, so maybe he tried to work out consistently up to the day that they would meet so he could impress her. Danielle, Garrick, their 2 sons, the girlfriend's mom, and Natalia go down to the cenote to swim, and it turns out Natalia is fearful of doing that, even though this was her idea because of all the bats. Maybe it's a hygiene thing, because bats tend to poop a lot. But then again, bats can also be scary. They're the reason why they're one of the icons of Halloween.
I guess.
That encompasses their whole interaction. They go back to the hotel. They discuss this trip wasn't as fruitful as they wanted it to be or as they envisioned. But Garrick and Danielle are at least trying to be light about it just to make Natalia feel better. In the end, they end on the note where Danielle doesn't think Natalia is coming around, at least to her, because Natalia does state that she is
falling in love with Garrick.
Danielle seems to still be pining for
Roberta.
And she was like, oh, well, she's not like Roberta in this way or this way or this way. It was awkward that she's trying to compare the 2 people as if they're just replacing
Roberta.
I was going to say just replacing auto parts. Just like plug in another one. Oh, we need a Brazilian girl. Okay, plug it in. They're interchangeable. Also, we get some real awkward sitting on the couch with 2 phones action.
That is always awkward because, again,
this is my opinion.
I don't know if it's controversial or not, but you should not be in a relationship if the only way you can communicate is through Google Translator.
The feeling I get from these 2 are two middle-aged people going out to try to find some young thing to do a three-way, but they've gone to a third world country to do it?
That's a lot of effort to... I don't know if I should label it as a three-way. Because they at least think this relationship is ordained of God.
Oh, I know. They keep saying it. Danielle says, well, and I know it is. Like, bullshit. How do you know?
So that's the end of them for this episode.
Thankfully.
Now we move on to the Davises. Their part in the episode was pretty short. It encompasses the commotion of what's going on with Danielle. Other Danielle, I should say.
Other Danielle.
The producers were able to film an interaction of her driving alone in her car, and she explains why she broke up with Nick, April, and Jennifer.
She's uncomfortable with the idea of having more wives.
Then the producer asked her what I thought was a touchy question. They're asking, oh, but did you say goodbye to Vera?
That's the kid, right?
Yeah, the daughter. I'm thinking...
Are you trying to guilt trip her? This girl seems like she's on the edge already.
That's what happened. She starts crying profusely. She mentions that
she was changing Vera's pajamas the night before she
decided to, take her plants out and leave. I could tell that really broke her because in a way, I do believe she felt like a third mom to this kid. So I thought that was an insensitive question.
It seems she's very happy with the three of...
Or six, if you count
the
William.
way things are now, she's upset that they're going to add more people to it. And so she's leaving before that happens, but she still really wants it now. I really felt for this lady. Also, I didn't realize how young she was.
I think she's 24. I think in season 3, when she was dating the Davises, she was 22. And I was really shocked when I found out how young she was. Granted, I think Jennifer met Nick and April when she was 19. Also very young. Mm-hmm. They must be thinking, well, this is normal. This is what I went through.
I guess.
Danielle just says that she doesn't want to find herself 10 years in the future being in a situation where she's unhappy because she did something very regrettable and she knew it was regrettable 2 years into it.
Yeah, she didn't want to be stuck in a situation and regret not having done something earlier. She seems just like a normal person being worried and sad and stuff. I felt really bad for her.
Yeah, she again reiterates that she loves being part of the Davises. The big thing that is turning her off is the aspect of dating. This is when the producer asked her if it's okay if they could just film a segment where all 4 of them are together. And she agrees to it. So we fast forward. I don't know how many days it's been between the part where she was filmed driving and the barbecue. So they are in the same patio, just as Danielle promised she would do. Nick is grilling steak. Made me hungry for brisket. They're all looking very nervous. I just noticed that Jennifer wasn't looking at her the entire time. She was saying on camera what she wanted to do in terms of filming. She must be very unhappy with Danielle. And so they're all awkwardly eating. Nick opens up the conversation, checking up how everyone's doing, specifically how Danielle is doing. He gets right to the point with the question,
is everyone okay with expanding the family?
I don't know if Danielle said something and then requested it to be taken out because they just immediately cut to her leaving the table. Because there was a scene where Nick was right beside her. Something must have happened, but I don't know if she said anything that was inflammatory enough because she immediately leaves. And I'm thinking something was edited out of there. Mm-hmm. So that's the Davises. What I found strange, I don't know if they're going to continue the conversation, if she's going to come back and explain her sudden departure. Throughout all of this,
Danielle mentions that she's not okay
with them dating more women, but she also doesn't voice probably the one aspect that would be most detrimental on Danielle's end and would be extremely validating, understandable as to why she doesn't want them to search for new people is because she's going to have to be legally bound to this person because that is their system. So if she's not on board to date other people and Nick, April, and Jennifer find a person that they love, it'll be worse than a sister wife situation where, let's say, Christine didn't want Robin in the family and was not totally on board with it. Add to that she also has to be legally married to Robin. That would be more unfair to Christine. And in this situation, it would be more unfair to Danielle.
I think it's strange that Danielle hasn't said anything about that, but she could just be a 24-year-old woman who is just feeling very, very sad and afraid right now, and maybe she isn't articulating herself.
Yeah. My thoughts on the Davises, I think they are rushing into dating new people so fast. Someone in my comments did bring out a good theory. Maybe the reason they are trying to add women so quick is that they want to have the bulk of their women already with them when their kids are young so that they can have this whole experience together. I guess they're only considering Vera and possibly more kids in the future because William is probably 18 or older.
These guys are strange.
I'm thinking another reason would be they want all of this on camera, or else they're going to be like the Ryans, as we'll see later, who have no story.
No, and now they don't.
Oh, speaking of, let's talk about this new family. So this is the family that's going to replace the Salahuddins, which obviously were not in this episode.
Are the Salahuddins not coming back?
No, they'll be back. They just weren't in this episode.
Okay.
They take out families based on how much material they have of them. So you can tell the fact that they're just coming in on the third episode means they really did not have much material of them.
Yeah, we got a theory about that.
Okay, so we have Beck and Justin Ryan. And my first thought was Becky kind of looks like Ashley Sherwood. Maybe it's the hair. We get some of their backstory. Becky and Justin grew up together. She was a few years younger than him, but they might have been childhood friends. They started dating when they were teenagers. Also, they got married when they were teenagers. She was married at 16, which I know that's legal in some states, but goodness.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're going to do a parent-teacher conference. Oh, can I bring my husband?
She was still in high school.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She could have been a sophomore. Whatever. We have plenty more weirdness to
get through.
Yes.
The reason why they're pursuing polygamy now is because apparently Becky grew up that way. Her father was a pastor, and he found out that because people in the Bible practice polygamy, he started to want to have more wives for himself, which every time someone tries to justify being a polygamist because it was done in the Bible, it brings up a lot of thoughts about it because that's a strange place to come from. During that time, so far in the past, women weren't even considered equal to men. They were kind of a step up from property, from their livestock or whatever. For that to be your justification to practice it in modern times is dumb.
It's very dumb. Or if you actually bring up this argument to anyone who's actually read the Bible, they're going to be, but every single time that happened in the Bible, it all went hideously wrong.
There was a lot of jealousy, conniving acts done.
Throwing people into pits. Oh, I'm talking about Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Drama.
Lots and lots of drama.
That's Becky's justification. I don't know why she's trying to pursue it because it's not like Christine's version where she says, I grew up with two moms and from what I perceived of my moms, they were happy.
Becky says,
my father wasn't around a lot. He took on other wives, and she describes her own mom as being a loner. So I'm thinking she's trying to imply that her mother also didn't have a deep bond with any of her sister wives. It was a negative for her. Why do you want this for yourself?
And it's unclear why Justin is now thinking that he wants to do polygamy. He wasn't raised in polygamy. Also, why are they doing polygamy now? Why weren't they doing it younger the same way that all the other polygamists seem to be doing?
To be fair, I think all of these families we've seen on Seeking Sister Wife are doing it now in their adulthood. I don't think any of these families this season have grown up in polygamous families as kids. I don't know, maybe this concept is getting more popular as more and more of these shows are coming out.
Yeah.
Justin says that polygamy is a family ally.
Ideally, she would just be family.
I guess because polygamy is a different formation of family, he thinks it's also a family ally, even though in all these polygamous shows we've seen, polygamy tends to break up the family. Polygamy is the enemy of the family.
I'm not sure which one of these two even wants polygamy.
I definitely think the husband wants it, as we'll see from him trying to hit on this poor woman. They say they've been dating a woman named Stephanie for 9 months. My theory is they were dating her for a pretty long time compared to other people on this show. Then again, they've been dating Roberta for a couple of years, I think. But that's a pretty long time. That's nigh on a year. I'm thinking at this point, they decided to audition for Seeking Sister Wife. Stephanie might have thought, maybe I don't want to, ruin my reputation, get into this mess, make it public. She decides that she doesn't want this for herself. So as a result, she bails on them.
After they've already been signed on for the TV show.
They're doing what Tasha and Sidian, I think those were their names, did in season 3, where they're just going out into random bars and asking unsuspecting employees or people just eating their cheeseburger
To Justin.
What happens is they're just sitting awkwardly. They're with the camera crew. You can see there's a group in the background that actually leaves when they see that they're being filmed. There are already people that seem to be avoiding the Ryans at this point.
As they should be.
What happens, it's just painful.
I couldn't watch it directly. I had to watch through my fingers. It was that rough.
It was cringe. Becky spots some woman in a flowery top, I guess because Becky is also wearing a flower top.
We can speculate as to why she was the one that was chosen by Becky. We know why Justin believes that she was chosen by Becky.
Yes, but first, Becky goes up to her. Becky starts talking about how many kids this woman has before she even knows her name or who she is. I thought that was out of order. We find out the woman's name is Desiree. She looks pretty normal. She's apparently out with her friend, the woman sitting next to her. Desiree says, I saw you with your husband. I think he left for the bathroom. And Justin is back from the bathroom. He's been sitting there for a good few seconds before he has the spine to go up to his wife and this woman that they've been eyeing.
You say spine, I say gall.
He's creepy because the way he describes how Becky pursued Desiree is, she just happened to go up to the most hottest girl in the bar. And I'm thinking, whoa, the hottest girl in the bar should be your own wife. Mm-hmm. So slow your roll there.
That's husbandry 101. Dude, seriously, you are creeping me out.
It gets worse. He finally heads on over to where his wife is. And his first question that he asks Desiree is, what does she do for work? She tells him that she's a director for an international ministry, which to me is kind of a vague answer that could have so many other follow-up questions. You could have asked, what kind of ministry? Is this a religious organization? Is it secular? Is it a charity? There were so many things he could have asked to clarify what she does. But the next question he asks is, do you work out?
And she says, yes. And he says, that's what I thought.
Oh,
this
boy.
guy. And the way that he talked to her was super awkward. He would look at her, and then he would look like this across the room. And then he'd look
back at her.
And then across the room. And I'm just like, oh my God, I feel secondhand embarrassment for this guy.
He definitely acted like he was 13 because after he says his questions, he goes, sorry, you can tell we suck at this.
We're not professional daters. As if that's a thing. We're convinced that Desiree is a plant. Put there by production so that there could be a story because they'd already signed the contract. It's just statistically unlikely. if you have a guy, a normal guy of an appropriate age who is single asking out a woman that he's never met before in a public location, the chances of her saying yes...
Well, the chances of her open to this lifestyle is low because...
We're not even talking about polygamy yet. I'm just talking about a normal woman. Then you put on top of that this crazy bull and the odds that the first person they talk to would respond to anything but the
Desiree is divorced, that was mentioned. But the fact that she lets herself be on camera even before they started talking to her definitely made me think she agreed to this. She's an actress.
Mm-hmm. She seemed way too happy, way too not awkward. There's a bit where he asks, so what are you doing tomorrow night? And my first response is, telling my therapist about this conversation we're having now.
I think Desiree mentioned it a little bit, or was it Becky, that maybe she thinks they're giving off swinger energy.
They are. I mean, seriously, I can just imagine you're in a public location, you're just by yourself, and then two people, maybe your parents' age, come up to you and be like, we like your energy. Do you want to my husband?
I felt bad for this woman if this really was an authentic interaction, which again, I don't really think it was.
No, not a chance. This is fake as hell.
She is hanging out with her friend, who apparently is from Estonia. That's not really important, but...
It's north of Latvia and south of Finland. That's what the internet says anyway.
Just weird. There's a reason why they didn't come into the season until the third episode, because they don't have a lot of story going on, because they're just trying to make it up.
And I doubt they're going to get any more.
They're definitely a one-season kind of family. I don't think we'll see them in season 6. The last family are, of course, the Sherwoods. We're in the aftermath of Ashley and Shane having come off their date with Grace, and Shane is at this point trying to talk about his feelings with a friend who he hasn't seen in a long time, and he has met through a beer pong competition, so that makes 2 competitions for this guy. Axe throwing and beer pong.
I suspect that maybe there's ulterior motives for her to be here. Who contacts somebody that they haven't seen in a long time to tell them about this kind of thing? I don't know.
Because it must be in their contract where you need to have other people to converse with, because you need framing devices. You need...
Sounding boards?
Yeah. Janelle and Christine, you need to set up a Christmas tree, or you need to move a frickin' beanbag into your apartment. They need these people, so they try to collect as many contacts that would be okay to film with them.
If I were more cynical, I would say that he wants this to be the sister wife.
She did have her ladies full on display because Shane was cleaning his pool. Was she thinking of taking a dip in their pool afterwards?
She knew what she had, and she's, if I'm going to be on TV, I want to put my best side forward, and that is right here.
Interesting outfit to wear to your first meeting of a friend you haven't seen in so long.
That you have an entirely platonic relationship with. She seemed not crazy, though.
She seemed normal. By the way, this friend, his name is Rachel. They have a talk about Ashley, their polygamous dynamic. Rachel asks, well, if Ashley and this potential sister wife are fighting, will you get involved in it? And Shane goes, no, I won't. I'll just be upstairs playing my video games.
We men are thinking that, but we don't say it.
Because Rachel and him are conversing, and she says, well, what if Ashley wants to go forward with a person you don't like? And he goes, then I'll just say, what the hell? Let's marry this person. He didn't say that last part, but that's where I thought he was going to.
It's like, respect yourself, man.
I don't know why he doesn't stand up for himself. I guess he's fine letting Ashley just do whatever she wants.
I'm thinking self-value issues, self-esteem issues.
Because why is it ultimately Ashley's choice?
This guy comes out here saying, I can handle my wife loving a woman that doesn't respect me.
He needs to grow a pair. I'm sorry. He does say that he thinks Grace has a lot of red flags. He mentions the coaching business. He mentions that she did not want to see him for the longest time. And Rachel agrees with him. She says, yeah, that's suspect. She thinks this Grace woman is being disrespectful to Shane.
Because she is.
So then we fast forward. Ashley is back with the swim lesson with her kid, and they're in the bed with all their dogs. They discuss the date. For the most part, they are on the same page, which, thank God. And Ashley just texts Grace an articulate message saying that, I don't think it's going to work, but...
You're wonderful.
And she sends it back, and Grace responds very quickly, saying her piece. That's that. I guess in the next episode, they're going to be dating another woman.
Yes. Ashley says that she's relieved, and then we see a new woman in the next preview.
Their part was boring. Not a lot happened. My thoughts on the Sherwoods. Shane's just a very sad guy.
He's a sad boy.
Hopefully they'll find a woman who is equally in love with Ashley and Shane, because they still want this woman to have biological children with him.
Weird.
Thank you for making it to the end. Do you want to give a summary?
Garrick is creepy, and he's into this Brazilian girl, and it's just creepy. I think we could all agree about that. The Davises' dynamic still confuses me. I don't know what they want. And so it's kind of hard to figure out what they're even trying to accomplish. The Ryans are creepy couple trying to pick you up in a bar with a big old church smile. And the husband doesn't want to make eye contact.
Their meeting with Desiree just seems so fake.
Shane is a sad, sad boy. They're not going with Grace. Ashley nearly made my list before she said she was not going to go forward with Grace, and at which point I gave her a grace.
That's it. Thank you for watching it all the way through. Hope you like this more unscripted format, and we will see you next week. Bye.